my natural tendency would be to come into work, be behind my computer and get stuff done.
Yep.
15 years from now, does it matter how big your business is, or does it matter how close you are as a family? So if you take your 8 or 10 hours a day, what are you focusing on? And is that huge projects or is it little projects?
Hey, welcome to the 513 podcast, where we talk about business, leadership, and legacy. This week, I sat down with Mark Zook, CEO of Stoltzfus Structures and Horizon Structures. Here's how that conversation went. Well, Mark, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you taking the time. I'd love to start off with you just sharing a little bit about who you are. You're married, you have kids, how many? We'll start there, and then we'll dive into some business stuff.
Perfect. Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's
Absolutely.
great to be here. My name is Mark Zook. Married, have 3 children, another one on the way.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, that's awesome.
2 boys, and then we adopted our youngest girl.
All right.
Another boy on the way.
Wow.
Like we got a family of boys other than Jasmine.
Wow. Well, that's
So
awesome.
I am the youngest of 9. So have 3 brothers and 5 sisters.
Wow.
Grew up Amish,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much takes me to where I am now. So growing up, we were part of family business. My dad had bought Stoltzfus Structures 50 years ago.
Is it
And
50 years ago?
It's been, 50 years this year.
That's
So
amazing.
growing up was part of family business. Summer times in between school, I worked out there and grew up into the business. So went to 8th grade. That was kind of the norm. That is kind of the norm for Amish. So a little bit different for us. We went to Mennonite school.
Okay.
So a little bit different.
You were Amish, but you went to a Mennonite school?
Correct.
Gotcha. Cool.
So a little bit different in our family. I would say our family is definitely, or my parents would be less conservative Amish.
Yeah.
So growing up had a good, I got exposed to a lot of things. That was really good in just the way I was brought up. So went to 8th grade, and from there started working in the business. Got my license at 16, pretty much went out on the road right away. And what I mean by going out on the road was doing on-site setups.
Okay. Not delivery, but on-site setups.
On-site setups.
Yeah.
So traveling anywhere from Maine to North Carolina, doing on-site setups.
Yeah. For any of the viewers or listeners, context to Stoltzfus Structures.
Yes.
Who are you guys? What do you do? What do you focus on?
Good question. So Stoltzfus Structures, we are located in Akron, Pennsylvania, and we focus on outdoor structures, and that's a wide range of products. So main focus is sheds and garages, but over the years we've expanded quite a bit with different products. So think pool houses, home offices, outdoor retreats, saunas, outdoor living products. So basically anything portable or built on site outdoor structure. So that's what we do.
And you manufacture that yourself at your shop down in Akron.
Correct.
Yeah.
Most of the products we manufacture, I would say probably 80% of the products we manufacture, we retail, and then we are a reseller of some products. So like outdoor living products, pergolas, pavilions, and gazebos.
Mm-hmm.
We would partner with a local builder, and then we would be the reseller for that.
Right.
So our main business is basically retail.
Yeah.
So we kind of looked at that over the years, and it's like we are a retail business. We use manufacturing to support our retail business.
Mm-hmm. So then you would ship nationwide, any into Canada, or is it in the States specifically? Where do you ship to?
States specifically, we will go to Canada, but very rarely. So I would say Stoltzfus, our main area is Northeast, from Maine to North Carolina. That's our main bulk of the business.
Awesome.
But we do ship nationwide.
And how has Stoltzfus Structures grown over the years to where it is now? And when did you said you got involved when you were really young. What did that look like as far as your progression within the business to what your role is now?
Sure. So when my dad had the business, he was doing everything. Like he was very busy and he was wearing a lot of different hats. And I believe the growth would have kind of maintained over the years. We would have probably hit a certain point and then kind of plateaued, and he would have been fine with that. 2 of my brothers, my oldest brothers, Dave and Jonathan, they got involved around 2004, early 2000s, and they would have kind of introduced internet, website. It was kind of early on, and they would have created a website and kind of went more that route, which definitely helped the growth of it.
And that was early on. Like, not many people were doing that at the time, especially locally.
Correct.
Yeah.
So at that time, we maybe had 12 to 15 guys in the shop, one or two people in the office, and we would have been doing quite a bit of wholesale, fair amount of retail. Dave and Jonathan got involved and kind of had the next vision, and they would have started pushing more retail, website, and that definitely, fueled some growth. From there, it continued to grow over the years. For me, I would have came out of school in 2008, 2009, started working in the shop, started going out with my brother on-site setups, and then would have been doing on-site setups myself. So that is putting a lot of hours in, no schedule. Basically, you wake up at midnight, you drive 6 hours. If you're going to Massachusetts, you work all day, then you drive back. So you might get home at midnight. So it's a lot of
That's a long day.
It's a long day, putting a lot of hours in.
Yeah.
I had really fun. It was great while I did it. After like 2.5 years, I was ready for a schedule.
Yeah.
And that at the time there was an opening in the office for a drafter. So I came into the office, started drafting, and from there, also helped with sales some, and then kind of just progressed from there.
Yeah.
Drafting, sales, helping with kind of wherever was needed most at the time.
That's really cool to hear too, as far as you can have different ways of going about it in a family business, to where you could probably jump to a certain leadership role if family allows it. But it's cool to hear you kind of worked your way up through the ranks in a sense. So on-site visits and then working in the sales. How did that progression look? What is your current role at Stoltzfus?
Current role would be CEO.
Okay. Yeah.
And I agree. With a family business, there are certain dynamics, and that's one of the things where you just kind of have to look at with a family business. There's definitely opportunities that are available. At the same time, we try to have it where, family members have to prove themselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one of those things where just because you're a family member, you get to move to a certain spot.
Right.
You still have to be a good person.
Yeah. That's good. So Stoltzfus Structures now, today, you have a very large manufacturing facility down in Acklen. How many employees are at Stoltzfus currently?
Currently, there's about 95 to 100 at Stoltzfus.
Okay. Yeah. And then you're a part of a few other businesses. Can you go over those businesses and what each one does as well, and your role?
Sure. So, CEO at Horizon Structures as well. Horizon Structures, we focus on more like animal products. So horse barns, dog kennels, chicken coops, also greenhouses is a large item there. Biggest difference between Stoltzfus and Horizon, we do not manufacture. So we basically partner with different wholesale shops, and we would be their retail arm. So a lot of advantages to that. You can have a lot of growth, and you don't feel the pain as much because you can distribute your growth amongst different shops, and they're responsible for building. So it's a very I really like the model because you can have a much smaller team, still do a large amount of sales. There's pros and cons with that. So involved with Horizon Structures, and then newest venture would be a company called Harbor Saunas.
Yeah.
And there we're focused on luxury saunas. So we basically...
Some incredible saunas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They're really nice.
Yeah.
So we basically are the manufacturing. We use the manufacturing for the saunas. And then we also have a team that takes care of like the sales the sales side of it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the newest venture. Super excited about it and seeing where it can go.
Any others?
That's pretty much it. We have a couple
of hunting.
I'm not involved in the hunting plots.
Gotcha.
So basically what we did is we separated Stoltzfus into basically a on-site setup company and a manufacturing company.
So like two divisions within that.
Basically to spread risk.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, we look at Stoltzfus structures as one,
Mm-hmm.
but underneath Stoltzfus, we would have an entity called Integrity Buildings that does our on-site setup,
Okay.
and then we have an entity called Zook Buildings that does the manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Stoltzfus structures from
It's
the
just
outside.
spread out in those.
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha. That makes sense. With Horizon, so you don't do the manufacturing yourselves. How does that work? How do you handle quality control? Because we are in Lancaster, so there's a lot of really good builders around here. But how do you scope out the right builders, the right manufacturers, and make sure that your clients, your customers, are getting a good quality product?
One of the things that's very helpful, local builder, J&N Builders,
Mm-hmm.
they do horse barns out of Lidditz,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have a manufacturing network across the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
and they basically build the same product. He takes care of the quality side of it. So that makes it really nice for us that we don't have to focus on that as much. And then the other builders, I mean, obviously we've had some that, didn't work out, but for the most part, blessed to have really good builders.
Yeah.
And a large portion of, products would get shipped from Lancaster. So
Mm-hmm.
Horizon, we go much more nationwide. So we do a lot of stuff on the West Coast, California, things like that. A lot of it's getting shipped from here.
Yeah.
And then different horse barn shop. There's like a horse barn shop in Montana, Kentucky, South Carolina. So depending where you would be getting an order from, it would come from those different shops.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then as far as like, I feel like the logistics of shipping to California, Washington, Montana are probably pretty tricky unless it's pretty straightforward. I don't know. How does that play out with having delivery out to those locations, finding the right people for install? What were some challenges that you guys have come across, and how did you solve those as a team?
Biggest thing would be the on-site setups going that far.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that makes a huge difference is Peter, my brother, he's the dispatcher. He has a really good team of drivers. So one thing that makes it really nice for us is we have like 10 to 12 guys that are pretty much dedicated to us.
Yeah.
That are hauling. So it's not like you're getting new drivers every time.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference. We've had our, share of problems over the years with, let's say a dog kennel goes to California and needs on-site setup.
Yeah.
Escort, typically when you take a building that far, when it's a certain width or a certain length, you need to have escort cars.
Mm-hmm.
And normally they're not the greatest setup guys,
Okay.
but found a crew locally that's willing to do the escorts plus the on-site work. And
Wow.
then we also have the drivers helping with it. So
That's
I would
perfect.
say now we probably have the best setup we've ever had. So basically we have a crew, technically a crew that's escorting the driver.
Yeah.
And then 2-3 guys take care of the on-site setup. So
And
it's
those
working
are part
really
of the
good
escort and driving team, which is, that's really cool.
Correct.
Huh.
It's working good now.
Yeah.
It hasn't always worked that good,
Yeah.
but we're thankful for it now.
So with that, with family business leadership, kind of legacy as well. Your father bought the business, brought it up. Now your brothers are taking over, and almost some of the third generation is coming into the picture too. How's that all playing out as far as just communication? How do you make sure that you're making sure your culture continues on as you guys grow and more family comes into the picture, and you just get bigger in general?
One of the things, I know there's a lot of family businesses that don't work out. We love working together as a family, and I think a lot of that comes from my dad just being able to, work with people and willing to go the extra mile to be able to work with someone. And I think we've all seen a great example of that, which has helped us work together. I know some people say they wouldn't do business with family. I love doing business with family, and I would almost want, I know I would want to do business rather with family than without family. So I know probably our communication style has helped with that. We're a little bit more where we wing it and figure it out as we go,
Yeah.
which some people that would drive crazy. We kind of try to stay out of each other's lanes and try new things. Just, hey, let's wing it, figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's times that has hurt us with like, hey, a little bit of planning could have avoided a problem.
Right.
But I think also on the positive side, like it has helped us work together. So we don't have a lot of like super hard disagreements. And if we do, we figure it out and talk it out and
Yeah.
figure it
That's
out
cool.
then, or somebody goes ahead with it and we just
Yeah.
figure it out as it goes. So it's not always been perfect, but we
Right.
love working together. And then what's great is three of my nephews are part of the business now.
Yeah.
And it's great having younger generation come along. It's great working with them. So overall, it's been a very positive experience.
Yeah. That's cool. I feel like that is difficult to do, and sometimes, yeah, a lot of people say not to do that. But I think it's probably seeing your dad run the business, kind of growing up within it, and probably a lot of you started working in the business at a young age, so it kind of just naturally progressed into you being more involved in the business on a day to day. But from seeing you guys from the outside looking in and seeing some of the inward workings of your business and your interactions, it's really incredible to see how you treat each other well, but you also go above and beyond for your employees, but also your customers. Where do you feel like that has come into play? Where did you guys learn that? And why do you care so much about people? I guess that was
Sure.
a simplified term for it.
Well, thank you for that. I think at the end of the day, it's, learning it from my dad, my brothers, and also, I mean, that's what God wants us to do. And a huge part of that, another thing to add to that is like continually improving ourselves, learning about leadership, learning how to better ourselves. And through that, you just become a better person. And I know that we haven't always, there's regrets that we have with how things have happened, working with people, there's always things that you could change, do better on. But at the end of the day, like one of the things that we try to do is just, hey, keep learning, keep growing better.
Mm-hmm.
Who I am now, hopefully I'm a much better person in 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from that lens, it's like, hey, today get just a little bit better.
Yeah.
As a person, as a father, as a leader, just continually improving yourself. Hopefully I'm much better in 5 years than I am now.
Yeah. And also with that, like with eighth grade education and then going into the business, how did you learn your business acumen, like your knowledge on how to run a business, how to be the CEO? Did you just learn that as you went and just dove in, or what are some ways that you've made sure that you're able to learn throughout the process?
ChatGPT.
Nice.
No, just kidding. No. I enjoyed learning. I enjoy learning. I enjoy learning about business. One of the things that have been really helpful for me is just being surrounded by really good people. And our community is blessed with that. I know a lot of communities, like, they don't want to share about business. They don't want to share like their wins, their losses, etc.
Yeah.
And I think Lancaster is special for that. We have a monthly book study with probably 8 different businesses represented. So we typically pick a book, read it, get together and discuss it, and then just say, hey, what's going on? What's working for you? What's not working? So surrounding yourself with good people in that way, I try to make it a point where go out to lunch with guys that I respect. And you get to learn a lot about business through that. I enjoy numbers. I enjoy reading. So I kind of grew into it, I guess. Yeah. And I love it. So I'm sure that has helped.
Yeah. The desire to learn and grow is kind of instilled in you. So that's just you are faced with a problem or a new role and you just dive in. You're like, how can I do the best that I can with this role? Is that kind of how it's been?
That's what I try to do.
Yeah. Who have been some inspirational leaders in your life, whether close to you or authors or speakers? Go through and expound on that a little bit.
Sure. So it's funny because we just kind of did a team spotlight at our team meetings where we asked like 3 questions and we picked different people. So one of them is like, besides the Bible, what's one of the top 5 books that you read? one or two things that people don't know about you, and
Yep.
beside your parents who have made the biggest impact in your
Mm-hmm.
life. And I said my brothers, and also had like a 7th and 8th grade teacher, Crit Lap, and he had a way of like calling people, just calling people out and like, hey, you're so much more than what society says you are, and like, hey, like this is where society puts you as a young kid, but you got so much more potential. Outside of that, like different authors, one of the things I hung out with a lot of older guys, and I think that made a difference for me.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my friends as I was growing up were like 5 to 7 years older than me.
Okay.
So I feel like I learned, like, when you're 16, you do your stuff and you make mistakes. But as I was like, during that time, I was hanging out with 20-year-olds, 24-year-olds, and much more mature, and just learning from them and continuing to learn. A couple authors that I really like, John Maxwell. I've really grown to appreciate him and his talks. First time I heard him live actually was maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And like 10 minutes in, I'm like, this was so worth coming to this conference.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then since then, we've had different interactions. Was able to go to Guatemala with him on a missions trip. In October, I'll be out there with him in California for a couple of days. So getting around guys like that, Patrick Lencioni has some great books. So many great books.
What's your favorite John Maxwell book?
Good question. One of the recent ones, High Road Leadership.
Okay. I haven't read that one.
And I got a whole pile of books at home. Yeah. So that's the one that comes off.
I'll have to check that one out.
Head.
Yeah. Awesome. Because you have, how many older brothers do you have?
3.
3 older brothers. Huh, me too. I don't have any sisters though, but I have 3 older brothers.
Nice.
Yeah. So they instilled a lot of positive traits into you, it sounds like. And then were you hanging out with older friends because of your brothers? Or did you just connect with older people?
I would say some because of my brothers, yes. And one thing that over the time I was 16 to 18, I didn't really have time to hang out because I was working so much.
Yeah.
So when you're putting 80, 90-hour weeks in, it kind of eliminates the hangout time.
Yeah.
So I would say kind of a combination, but yeah, through my brothers also.
Yeah. Sweet. When did you become CEO of Stoltzfus?
I think that would have been 2 years ago.
Okay. And Horizon, same time, or?
Horizon would have been more like 6 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. When was Horizon formed?
Horizon was formed early 2000, like 2001.
Okay.
And then Dave would have been running it for the first, 10, 15 years. His interest kind of went elsewhere, and he had his team running it, and it was it was doing okay, but not great.
Yeah.
And then in 2017 is when myself, Peter, and Jonathan would have joined.
Yeah.
And over that time is kind of when I would have took lead on running with the team.
Sweet. What have been some of the biggest challenges internally with leadership, with hiring people, with bringing on the right people? What have been some challenges that other people can learn from that you guys have experienced with growing a larger company, that you could dive into a little bit, that you guys have been able to solve internally? Any challenges that come to mind initially?
For me personally, probably my biggest challenge is like naturally I am more of an introvert maybe. And so it's forced me to get outside of my box and get to become better with people, or learn to become better with people. And what I mean by that is like my natural tendency would be to come into work, be behind my computer and like get stuff done.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's relationships that matter. And I can do so much better than what I'm doing now. But just being intentional, like, hey, connect with your team, pour into your direct reports, the different managers, pour into them. And for me, it's so easy to like jump in and get, help with the process or the problem or the opportunity. but learning to empower the team.
Yeah.
I feel like I've made progress with that, but I have a long way to go on
Yeah.
that.
Well, I was going to ask, are there any specific kind of practices that you're able to put into place with balancing that time? Because as leaders, you still have to get stuff done, but also a big part of your job is pouring into your team and empowering them and giving them the right tools. Do you have any practical ways to kind of balance that time, or what does that look like for you on a day-to-day basis?
I know this, like, it sounds crazy, but like for me, I have reminders on my phone, like, hey, walk around to the team,
Yeah. Yeah.
like little stuff like that, because it's so easy for me to like just come in and get zoned in and
Yeah.
like totally forget about other stuff.
Hmm.
So just being intentional with that. One of the things is like, some people say, hey, before a meeting, take a few minutes to just think about who am I meeting with?
Hmm.
What can I go into the meeting with and just give value to the person I'm meeting with? So I don't think it has to be like, hey, you got to like block out X amount of time.
Yeah.
Simple things like I know for our culture, I show up at work typically around 5:45, and for our culture, especially the shop guys, mostly are Amish. Amish and Mexican are basically most of the guys in the
Yeah.
shop. For them, I think it means a lot for us to be there early and walk through. We usually typically get there, and usually I'm walking through the shop at 6 and just saying, hey, good morning.
Yeah.
Like basically I make my round every morning usually and just say morning with the guys' names. It helps me remember
Yeah.
the
Right.
guys, and it means a lot for them. So
Do you
different
have
things
a
like that.
picture book anywhere with all their names?
We don't.
Okay.
So
Wow, that's
I
impressive.
think about that sometimes where, I do good with the shop guys.
Yeah.
The guys that I probably get the most confused on is the on-site guys, because they're coming in at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and leaving before we're there, and then
Yeah.
often getting back after we're gone. So a lot of the guys on the road I might not see for 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
I struggle with their
Yeah.
names more.
No, that makes sense. With that schedule, it sounds like it's a very busy schedule. Early mornings, potentially late evenings. How do you balance family time and business time, and how do you prioritize those two?
I am more of a morning guy, so mornings I do enjoy. It's kind of torn because I would love to like have a good morning routine where, hey,
Yeah.
I do a workout in the morning, get some reading done, and then get into the office
Yeah.
around 7 or 8, but that's not my schedule. So we usually wrap it up around like 4:30. So I usually try to leave the office around 4:30, and I might get a workout in during the day sometimes.
Yeah.
So and then evenings I try to be off my phone as much as possible. But with the team that we have a great team, and it offers me the flexibility to be able to get away and have coffee with my wife during the day if we do a little lunch date.
Yep. That's cool.
Get a workout in, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. What are any other practical tips or encouragement for people that might have a busier schedule but still want to prioritize family time with a young family? Any encouragement to young guys that are kind of battling that?
You're asking the wrong guy. No, just kidding. At the end of the day, what's most important?
Yeah.
And in 15 years from now, does it matter how big your business is, or does it matter how close you are as a family? And just keeping that mindset. At the end of the day, you have to get stuff done.
Yeah.
I think you're always going to be busy. One of the things that I feel like I see other people doing is like, for me, I can be busy doing like, jumping into processes, different things like that, or I can be busy focusing on huge projects.
Yeah.
So if you take your 8 or 10 hours a day, what are you focusing on? And is that huge projects or is it little projects? And just becoming more intentional about, hey, where you spend your time. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. You're asking the wrong guy.
Why do you say that?
I would say I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Yeah. No, that's true. You said you have 3 kids currently. How old's your oldest?
5, 3, and 1.
Okay. 5, 3, and 1, and 1 on the way. How is parenting? Like, how's it being a father, I guess?
Best thing ever.
Yeah. Any core memories that you want to share?
About being a father?
Yeah, about being a dad.
Actually, like one of the exciting things right now is Liam is 5 and he wants to go to work with me. So
Yeah.
took him in Labor Day. I was working, took him in, office was empty and he loved it. So I was like, all right, let's try doing it maybe on a weekly basis. So
Yeah.
that was Labor Day was, let's say 2 weeks ago. So actually on Tuesday, I woke him up at like 5:30 and he was all excited, went with me to
That's so
work.
cool.
And then the next morning, Wednesday morning, he woke up at like 5:30 again and was like, hey, can I go with you? And I was like, no, but
Yeah. Oh,
hoping
that's so
to
cool.
do that on a weekly basis for the
Wow.
time being. So
Yeah.
and we
And
got
get
a year before he starts school. We're
right.
doing kindergarten at home.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, might as well do it
Oh,
before he
that's
goes to
awesome.
school.
Very cool. That is fun. My oldest just turned 4, so I'm a year behind you. Any tips for young dads on just intentionality, caring for your kids, caring for your wife?
One of the things that I do is, and this is something that I had wrote down kind of at the beginning of the year, is you want to do your dates with your wife and kids. For me, it was so easy to, hey, I want to do this. Life happens.
Yeah.
So one thing that helped me was beginning of the month. I have a reminder that pops up and is like plan out your monthly date.
Yeah.
So typically at the beginning of the month, I plan a date with my wife and I, and then also we usually try to do like a boys' night.
Yeah.
So
So not individual with each kid. It's more so like a
ideally,
yeah.
but
But as far as timing
in
goes,
our
yeah.
stage of life, it's
Right.
just we just started doing it with
That's
both
cool.
boys. And then I want to do some things like I heard this from someone else is like want to do like a big trip when they're like 6,
Yeah.
maybe 12,
Yeah.
and just make it an intentional time of
Yeah.
getting away. That would be one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
The thing is, like, everyone is busy. How intentional are you going to be
Yep.
to make it happen? And for me, I know different people work different ways. For me, it comes down to like, hey, I have reminders. Like, what's important happens. And if I don't put a reminder in or schedule it, it's
Yeah.
probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Even if they're things that you want to do,
Sure.
they just get overlooked unintentionally. And yeah, that's where being intentional comes in. Intentionality reminds me a lot of Unreasonable Hospitality. Will Guidara, I think is how you say his last name. But I know you guys went through that as a team or as leadership at least, and you guys respect his teaching. But one of the things that really stood out to me in his book was even though they were very busy, they were very intentional in listening to their customers and figuring out ways that they can be intentional and get creative in blessing their customers and their employees. How is that? Because I know you guys implemented some specific things within that teaching. How's that looked for you guys? And are there any fun stories of how you were able to go above and beyond for whether it's an employee or a customer?
Sure. So that's probably actually one of my favorite things that I like to hear is when someone from the team sends out, hey, here's an email that I got back.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happened. A couple ways that we've implemented it is we have a hospitality person.
Yep.
Emmy does a fantastic job. I think you guys experienced
Yep,
it some
absolutely.
with free coffee, acai bowls, different things like
yeah.
that. So when clients come to our office, she usually makes them kind of whatever they want, smoothies, coffee drinks.
Yeah.
So that's one way we've done it. She usually goes around the office and gets orders typically on a daily basis. And then the shop, she'll basically separate different sections of the shop
Yeah.
just because with the sides, it's a little difficult to do it everyone every day.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the ways that we hear it from our team with clients is just different things that they hear, whether it's like, hey, I need to put I'm not going to move ahead with the order because my wife has cancer or something like that. And then even though we don't get the order, they say, hey, they tell Emmy can you send a gift box with a note out to this client?
Yeah.
And then their response is like incredible.
Yeah.
I know the one time, I believe the wife was getting her late husband kind of a memorial. It was like a bench to sit on. And I believe Danielle got it engraved with like the name.
Wow.
Of her late husband and just made a huge impact. So
Yeah.
I love hearing stories and we typically bring it up as a like a reminder, and just kind of staying in front of the team is like, hey, let's be proactive on this.
Right. Yeah.
So favorite
That's
stories that I
yeah,
love to
that's
hear from the
awesome.
team.
And I think it's really cool too because you invested in a role for hospitality, for taking care of people, for your employees. Like, you don't have to do that by any means. That's not forced upon you to go the extra mile for your employees. Why is that so important for you and your business?
I think giving back is huge, and we've been blessed, and we want to be a blessing to others.
Yeah.
And the more that we can do that, I think the more it just passes on. I thought this was a pretty cool story. So we actually learned this from another company. So we typically monthly will pick, a person from the shop, a person from the office, and then a horizon. We do a person from the offices. Pick a ministry or a person in need that
Yeah.
and then we can donate $1,000 to that person from the company. We've had really good feedback from that. And then just recently, Anna Marie from Horizon, she started, I believe, earlier this year. She was like, hey, I had a friend that they heard what we're doing with that, and then they started doing that at their company as well. So just seeing like, hey, we learned it from someone, we started doing it, and now it's making a difference in other companies as well. And I think that's really cool.
That's so cool. Who'd you learn it from, if you're able to share?
E&E.
Okay, cool.
Matt from E&E.
Okay.
So that was through our book study that we do. He was mentioning it.
Yeah, very cool. I didn't know if it was Keystone, Marv.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I didn't know that.
The hospitality thing, I think that's where we learned that from.
Okay.
With getting Emmy in, because they do a great job with hospitality and the way they treat their clients as well.
Because I used to work at Keystone and saw Marv and the whole team, just the way they cared for their employees. And I see that a lot in you guys too, and I just really respect it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And I know Marv and their team does a fantastic job.
They really do. As we close this out, I want to hear, like, what does leadership mean to you, Mark? Like, what does it look like? What does it look like? Yeah, just leadership in general. What does that mean to you?
It's funny that you ask, because I went to a conference recently, and one of the things that I wrote down, which I didn't get to it yet, was not writing a book on leadership, but more or less writing maybe a book just for me on what leadership looks like for me. And just thinking through that, like, leadership, if you can't let whatever the place, the organization, whatever it is, in a better place when you leave, it's probably not a great leader. You're probably not a great leader. And another thing is, like, if the organization is doing great while you're there and you leave and it goes downhill, that's probably not a great leader as well. I think at the end of the day, it comes to like empowering people and calling out people to be a better version of themselves. And at the same time, whoever you're leading needs to want it as well.
Yeah.
But hopefully you can inspire that person to say, hey, you have so much more in you. You have the potential. And I think that's what true leadership looks like, is inspiring people, creating or making people become better because they want to become better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Anything else you want to share? Anything else you want to talk about or, let people know about?
One of the things on some of the questions you had asked, it made me think of, I don't know if this helped people, but I think one of the things that has worked for us over the years is not being scared of mistakes, not being scared of trying new things. We may try new things maybe too quickly.
Yeah.
At the same time, I would rather be proactive on trying new things and having 2 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 ideas not work out. I would rather have that happen than the opposite side, where you're just, hey, I really need to like figure this out. I really need all the details before I move. So that's one of the things I think that has helped us. And I think it's a good business practice in general, is like, hey, try new things, make mistakes, keep moving. At the end of the day, just realize that, hey, if it is a mistake, if we messed up,
Yeah.
Don't let it affect you. Move on, learn from your mistakes, and
That's really good.
keep trying new things.
For the leader or just person in general out there that struggles with that, they're afraid to make mistakes. They're afraid to dive into something new or kind of experiment with something. What encouragement would you give that person?
The quicker you fail, the quicker you learn.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Very cool. I think that's what we got today. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you being on here. I know that your story, everything you shared, will be inspiring for other people. I look forward to hearing people, knowing people that are going to hear your story. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, Mark.
Absolutely. And thanks for what you're doing, Ryan.
Yeah.
You're a great guy, and I love working with your company.
Sweet.
So
Thanks
you.
a lot. I appreciate it.